Welcome to Actually Controller, the podcast that is actually Controller, and we are actually in control of everything you are hearing right now. I'm so very sorry. Control issues. And Chad doesn't let anybody else touch the trailer.
It worked. I am not going to complain. And I know what kind of sauna that is. I mean, we all know that. But
yeah.
Like, for him to get in there and just take care of that.
But once you find a certain way to pack that trailer, and you're the one that knows exactly where everything goes, it's just so much easier. And if somebody goes to put something in wrong,
and then they get barked at.
Hey, I'm the same way. I know how my car works, and we've talked about this before. Like, when we fast forwarding to yesterday when we're unloading, just put all my gear at the back of the car. I will put it away because there's a certain way to do it, so I know I have everything.
Yeah. And that's fine, but you know what I got barked at for? I didn't put the stand in the wrong spot. I put the stand in the correct spot the wrong way.
Yes.
I had hooked it behind something that it apparently wasn't supposed to be hooked behind, just setting on top of.
That's because that changed where the base was going to sit for its security.
It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
It is. It really is. And I will admit, it's a little bit of a control issue thing when it comes to that trailer. But I'm fine with that because next time we go somewhere on that trailer, I know how to pack that trailer.
It did make it faster because we ended up over the week. We ended up developing a system how to get things done and like unload.
And even when I ran into like different circumstances, like merch was always the first thing to go in. But if merch was going to be a last thing because we're still trying to push after everything's loaded, then I learned how to situate everything with merch being last.
And the idea of like, okay, we're going to pull out all of our personal belongings and luggage and stuff, throw that in the car, and then we're going to unload the gear, do the show. That way we're not unloading personal things, unloading gear, reloading personal things.
We bumped into that.
Unloading personal things,
really
loading gear, reloading personal things.
West Virginia last tour.
We did that last tour. We were just like constantly in and out with the personal stuff. It never went to the truck. It just right back into the trailer.
Learning curves.
Yep. And that's what happens when you tour. You end up learning your system.
And that's why I threw out the idea. I was like, hey, when we go to unload our personal stuff while we're at the venue, let's just throw it in the truck.
So there were 3 bands with us that night. You mentioned Skin Testament.
Yes.
I remember Gothic Christmas, but there was another
Goth Christmas. Downer. And Downer. Oh, Downer put on a really good show.
Mm-hmm. Downer, I would have to say out of all of them, if you're going to like list one as a grungier type sound out of all of them, Downer hit that.
Although I found it funny being a bass player and listening to the bass player there, because he even he's like, I push nothing but mids out of my bass.
Oh yeah.
He has his bass turned down, he has his highs turned down, and he pushes mids, and I could I was wanting that low rumble feel.
Yep.
That's just not present, and I really wanted to talk to him, but I didn't get a chance to because they were out like
but I
that.
think some of his sound actually complemented the guitar, though. I think that's
in a way it did.
It did, but
there's the sympathetics.
The sympathetics. Also, to really capitalize on how much we were the dads that night comparative to the other bands we were playing with. The reason Chad didn't get a chance to talk to the bass player was that the bass player's mom and dad picked them up directly after their set because they all
had to go to school.
Had school the next morning.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
we played with a bunch of teenagers.
We played a high school party.
Rock and roll has no age.
No.
We played a high school party. However, all of the high schoolers apparently seemed to be down with what we were offering.
Oh yeah.
So that was the cool part.
Enjoy the music your dads listened to.
Yep. That was, I think, the marketing that Chad threw out there. So
we anything else on Woodbridge?
So Woodbridge, I will say
Moonlight
this
House.
was a nice, convenient part. The venue, I didn't know it was going to be this close. I had stumbled into our hotel being in Woodbridge, which was great. It was literally an 8-minute drive.
Yep. Once
we were done.
I did like the fact that we actually had that hotel twice, 2 nights in a row.
Yeah, that was the first time that we were able to actually do a hotel.
First night stay comfortable and second night stay even more comfortable because we didn't have to bring in all this stuff.
Yep. And we happened to have a Smoky Bones restaurant in our parking lot, which the main reason we ended up doing that was because by the time we were done, it was one of the only places open for dinner. But we could have definitely had worse options at that point. So, that was a That night was okay. The next night, though, we knew we had a good drive, though. That was probably the other long push. That one was up in Youngstown at Westside Bowl.
Westside Bowl. I would like to go. I would like to go back to that.
I do want to go back, and I want to get on their upstairs stage.
I think we need to do like a multiple 4-day weekend runs to kind of just kind of keep pounding our name out there, because recapping with my boss today, while the tours have been fun, there was no bleed from last year because I remember these guys coming through our area because we were nowhere near where we were last year.
Right.
Yeah.
Reasonably. I mean, we were, but not reasonably. So I think we need to get a little more focused on doing hitting those venues that are within the region, and then hitting them again 6 months later without taking the full on tour.
The last year's tour was very centered around our date at Middle of the Mountains.
With the festival.
That's fair.
That was kind of the purposing of all of the routing before and after, was more just for that purpose. This one was definitely where do we want to try to get to, and how much bang for the buck can we really get without going all the way southwest, all the way, South Florida area or West Coast type thing.
So Youngstown was Westside Bowl. It had 2 venues.
Yes.
Had a main stage venue, which was upstairs near the bowling alleys.
Yeah, the stage was right next to the bowling lanes.
And we got bumped to a downstairs area.
The sound down there was beautiful.
Huge green room.
Even with some of their tandem monitoring wasn't working properly. So every other monitor up on the stage was out. But still, and that's for monitors going out and for up on stage.
Yep.
But the sound was still just phenomenal sound. And they took care of us. That pizza was really good.
It was really good.
Yep, we had the pizza. We had technically access to some different beers and everything that.
Drinks.
Yeah, that doesn't do apparently any good for Chris because
they had certain wells. I had a well beverage.
Did you? Okay.
I think that's one venue I actually did not drink alcohol at.
I think I just had one because it was.
I got the free beer because I was tall enough to turn off a light for the bartender. But yeah, Westside Bowl. We were originally slotted to be in the upstairs stage. Actually, my guess is that because that show was kind of a very last minute throw together, because we were originally trying to be in Pittsburgh, and we kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And eventually it was one of those, we got to cut our losses. We're either not going to have a Thursday show, or we got to have, a Thursday show someplace else. And thankfully, when I reached out to Westside Bowl, they were kind enough. They're like, look, we'll do a free show. We'll cover costs on sound and everything like that, but we'll give you a place to play. And I was like, we'll take it.
I think that's when we started tallying the fact that we sold some merch at every stop.
Yes.
Again, the pizza was good, so having food from a travel standpoint was nice. Saved a little bit on the pocketbook.
Yep. Along with the booze, with the fact that they were offering up some free.
But it was it was there was a lot going on with this venue. Downstairs you have the downstairs underground type feel. A lot of concrete walls, a lot of T-shirts all over the place.
Which our T-shirt, if you happen to go to Westside Bowl. And
hit up the basement.
If you head down to the basement, you should see a Contrøller shirt on the wall now. Might be on the ceiling.
Large green room that they said the bands, some of the touring bands will actually stay overnight, which I didn't know until then. Then again, upstairs there's a diner, old school bar diner type area, separate from the bowling alley, which also had the main stage. And then there was a teeny tiny record store.
And don't forget about the actual lounge / game room.
Area. Yep, little lounge game room for the chill.
Yeah, the arcade area and everything. So I agree, there was a lot going on in the venue. But the part that was different is not only was there the stage upstairs and the bowling lanes upstairs, they still had a vibe of feeling separated. Though when you were over in the stage area, you didn't feel like you were about to get smacked with a bowling pin or
yeah.
a ball that went haywire type thing.
So I did mention this. This is the fourth bowling alley I played at. I did play at one point where when leagues got over, they closed down like the center 4 lanes and built a stage right there where the ball returns were, and the band played right there in the middle of the lanes, literally.
That's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, I remember you talking about that. You're like, yeah, everybody's just bowling right around me.
There was like bowling balls flying like 10 feet away from where I was drumming, and it was kind of scary.
And we've all been the drunk guy at the bowling alley that goes, oops, when it got stuck on the thumb.
Yeah. It was okay, though.
But yeah, the venue, though, overall, there's a lot to take in, but there's a lot to do. I can imagine on a properly promoted night where the upstairs and the downstairs are going and it's a weekend, that is an awesome place to be at and everything, because there's just, it's almost on the brink of sensory overload. If I could imagine if everything was firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, if it's popping everywhere, yeah, for sure.
And
the downstairs had its own bar too, so you really could maintain that separation of party, and then that one diner area where it could all be, and you can order food probably in both places. We got our food handed to us outside on the patio that we didn't even talk about. They had an outdoor patio.
Yep.
So yeah, there's a lot going on. Westside Bowl, thank you guys. It's a really cool venue. Would love to go back.
Yeah, I love the venue. I'd love to go back.
Would love to be able to offer you up our performance with a lot more time to actually properly promote it. So,
yes.
Yep.
A proper controller show.
Yeah, a proper controller show.
Centira?
Help me out here, Chad.
Hold on. He followed us on
Centira.
TikTok, so I can look that up super fast.
The opening act,
yes,
was a gentleman who did
a solo gent.
But it was like, hold on, Centira, Sentira. Very talented guitarist, shreds like a mofo.
Out of Pittsburgh, actually.
Out of Pittsburgh. Small world. He was in a band. I won't mention the band's name, but he was in a band for a hot minute that had put out for auditions. At the same time, I almost auditioned for this band.
Yep.
So there was a complete small world moment where we would have been in the same band together, except I couldn't go on a tour at the time. It was a band that was jumping on a non-point leg, so they needed somebody for like 3 weeks plus.
With quite a few dates attached to it.
Yeah, like 3 weeks plus, and I was not ready for that.
Yep.
So that was real small. Like, oh, hey, I know that band. It's like, oh, and
he's like, yeah, I was in there for a little while,
little backstory
up until COVID. So, but yeah, he was phenomenal, great guy.
A lot of fun to hang out.
He was going to leave, so he even stayed to support us. He was going to leave because he had a trek to get back to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he had an hour drive to get back, and he's like, and I got to work the next morning. It's a Thursday.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna
get it, man.
I'm gonna catch like a song or two of you guys, and then I'm gonna leave. But then he stuck around for the whole thing.
Whole set.
Him and his dad.
Yeah, whole set.
And I will say, I felt kind of good on that one. Came up to me directly after the set, and he's like, dude, I love your guitar tone. I was like, yeah.
To be fair, you got a couple compliments on that during the tour on your sound. And
I actually got compliments on my bass tones, and I actually got compliment on my singing.
Oh, look at you!
Look at you!
I know. That one threw.
Chad's about to go so Chad. He's going to go
start his own project.
Yeah, he's going to go. It's going to be the Chad.
Anybody looking for a new singer?
Yep.
Are you ready for
So
the
we
Chad?
did glaze over something sitting here glaring at me now.
Who's looking at
we made a stop. So one of the things we tried to do this whole trip, and I think we all do this on vacation, you want to do new experiences, whether that's eateries or just attractions or things like that. And one of the ones, Steve's up front, he's like, hey, there's this one more, like this is the last one before we leave North Carolina. And I'm like, do you want to stop? He's like, I kind of do. Nobody was really hungry.
No.
But as soon as I heard him say what it was, I'm like, I want to go.
Let's go experience it. And Steve, where did we go?
We went to Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's.
So
just like Wawa, just like Sheetz, if you've never been, you better go.
So for context,
the sheer size of this place.
This is one of their newest locations. It's not even finished getting built yet.
It's literally an attraction. It has its own exit, signage, lights,
everything directly across the street from the tourism board building.
Jesus.
The funny part is, though, and I was informing...
Almost has its own zip code. It was huge.
It was probably, but the thing that I was informing them about when we were walking downstairs to start shooting tonight, that's actually one of their smallest locations.
I had mentioned this. I'm going to tell you what brought that up. And so I'm driving through this jam-packed Coliseum parking lot. There was a lot of cars there.
There was a lot of
with
cars.
a trailer, and I'm like, I need to find a place to park. And we just decided finally to stop at a pump and just take over some pumps. So I'm driving, and out of the back seat, Bob goes, Jesus, there's 208 pumps? And Steve's like, no, there's more, because there's 208 plus.
Yeah, by the time he had looked up to see,
I think there was somewhere close to like 300 pumps at that station.
I think it was still in the I think it maxed out at 250 was the actual pump
You think
count.
250 was
I think
the
it was
top?
250 on that one, because by the time he saw it, we were only about
I should have gone down to see how many was the
take
end
that
one.
stroll.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were at one of
Snap
the
a picture.
smallest locations. So even at 300 pumps, it's still one of the smallest ones. The second that we walked into the door, though, I almost needed to give Chris a safety hug.
Oh, my gosh.
I will say, though, some of the fastest checkouts
If you've ever said sensory overload, like I've been to amusement parks, I've been to concerts, this was just pandemonium.
Yeah.
Chaos, people
but all
everywhere.
organized.
You take a flea market, the biggest convenience store you've ever seen,
Bed Bath &
Sheetz,
Beyond.
a Wawa, all of it, and you just like throw it in a blender and spit it out, and that's where we were.
Well,
And
like-
have it crystal clean and well put together.
Well, it's like one wall I looked at on the far side was all the refrigerators for like your 20-ounce pops and stuff like that. And then there's a wall for the fountain drinks. I mean, just a huge
let's talk about the wall of beef jerky.
wall of
I got
beef
a
jerky.
picture of that.
Let's
And then
also-
the hot food being
let's talk
made
about
in
the brisket bar in the dead
center of the store. It's
and
like,
they
whoa.
bark out every time a fresh brisket comes out for carving.
Yeah.
You get a audible notification.
Is that what that is? I was wondering. I couldn't.
You
quite
get an
make it out.
audible notification every time a fresh brisket gets brought out to be carved.
I am slightly disappointed I didn't make my way over and get one of their sandwiches.
I can't
Well, we
remember.
weren't hungry.
We had
I mean,
just got done eating somewhere.
We just got done eating.
Oh,
and-
Waffle House.
Yeah.
So I know because of how large it was, Jeff and Bob made that their stop to buy some beach gear. They ended
Yeah,
up buying
because they're like,
sandals and
we
swim
need
trunks.
swimsuits, and it's like this is probably as good of a spot as
And
any.
it wasn't pricey. Like you expect it to be like, oh, this is a huge attraction. It's a big thing, like a huge
You're
tourist.
paying the
type spot.
convenience price.
You're paying. Yeah, you're paying a little bit more, but it
well,
wasn't.
no, you're
gouging.
expecting to pay the
Yeah.
convenience
Yeah,
price.
and it wasn't gougy at all.
Nope.
No.
Actually, if you're on Patreon, the thing you're looking at right now is only like $12.
We did almost lose a Chad. That was on
We
point.
did.
And that's partly. I think he decided to check out and thankfully found that I left my wallet in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the habit of leaving my wallet in the door of my car so I can ride, so I can drive without.
Don't tell.
Oh, nobody's gonna know.
So Chad was so Chad that Chad chatted himself out the door without all of us
See ya.
and didn't bother to text or memo anybody. And we were keep in mind, this ain't a tiny store. We were doing laps through the whole
There was
door.
one point
I was in the double door
And
section and
instead
I watched
of-
you guys walk by.
Instead of shortening this whole trip and the worry and him watching us literally walk by us.
But it was when I watched you guys walk by and noticed that nobody looked over towards the exit. I'm like, I'm going to go run my bag out to the car and I'm going to come back in. And that's when I found Chris's wallet. And I go in and I'm like, hey, are you going to need this in here? I wasn't sure.
There was a moment looking for him that, like, we were walking through the general merchandise, and we were all in the main aisle. Said, "Y'all stay here. I'm going to go in." And I just like started sniping through the aisles really quick because four dudes can't make it through. I'm like, I'm by myself. I'm literally just like
Go, be the
weaseling
fast.
back
Be
and
the fast
forth
one.
like as fast as I could. I'm like, I don't see him. So that's when we made our way across the store.
Yep.
To try and find you. I'm like, I don't know where he went. Maybe.
Yeah, we covered the whole footprint.
Completely
looking for
wandered
somebody who's like, deuces.
Peace.
Not only did he wander off, he went outside.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was an experience. That was okay. So backtrack.
But
that
when
was
when we got back in, we got to get our picture taken with the mascot,
Oh,
Becky himself.
As you've already seen on that
Steve
one.
wanted a commemorative picture instead of like just the whole Bucky sign. I was
And
like,
then-
let's go.
It's funny because your metalheads are the ones that are out there doing the ridiculous stuff, like getting their pictures with
Yes.
the mascot.
Actually, our AR, he's like talking, and he's like, yeah, I had a couple people like, really? The Buc-ee's one? And he's like, dude, they're on tour. I'm like, exactly. That's why I tagged at the very beginning line. Yep. When in Rome.
Yep. So, Wawa, Sheets, Buc-ee's in that like grandiose order.
Yes.
Definitely got to hit the Buc-ee's. If there's a Sheets nearby, take it. If Wawa's your only choice, all right.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna stop and get gas, make those 3 your stops. And don't use Gas Buddy.
No. There was no Gas
We
Buddy
learned this last year. Don't use Gas Buddy.
You
No,
will end
because
up in
then
some backwood
especially
places.
Then you
4
miss
a.m.
out on like all the good stuff like Sheets.
Yeah.
This is true.
Because the one stop we had last tour, Gas Buddy took us to a gas station just like a block away from a Sheets.
Yep.
So we can come back to that, but yeah, we end up. Wow.
Yeah. We only stumbled on Sheets last tour on a fluke because we got told by another band that we were on a few shows with last year. They're like, if you get the opportunity, Sheets needs to be your place. And we're like, all right, cool, whatever.
Speaking of another band and Sheets, on our way to Youngstown, Cane Hill pulled up right next to us.
Same stop. No, it was wasn't on our way to Youngstown?
Yeah, it was on
way to
because
Youngstown.
they were just leaving that
heading to
area.
So yeah, so that would be the stop that you're referring to. So we're already there. We've left West Side Bowl, bringing it back to chronological.
Yep.
We're on our way to.
We were on our way to West
On our way
Side Bowl.
to West
And
Side
they
Bowl.
were on their way to Pittsburgh, so we were literally on the same highway.
We're trying to decide. Well, you got to time your gas stops so that way you're maximizing your highway use as well as your gas tank.
Yep.
And we're like, here's a Sheets. We don't know how many are left before we get out of here,
Yeah.
right?
Let's get
so
Sheets.
let's go ahead and do Sheets. We're going to pull off the turnpike and stop here. And Steve looks up and says, guys, I'm pretty sure we've been here before. And I look at him like, this looks familiar. It was the same area we had
Exact same
stopped at,
stop.
where we're all like, look at all these hills and mountains all around these gas stations. We're all super surprised at the marathon we stopped at last year.
Mm-hmm.
We completely bypassed Sheets.
We
Because,
drove past the Sheets to get to the marathon.
Because
Gas
Gas
Buddy.
Buddy also said,
Wah wah.
Yeah, unbeknownst to us, but yeah, we played with Cane Hill probably about 4 months ago now.
has it
Somewhere
been that
about there.
long?
It's either that or longer than that at this point.
What-
We're at Pierre's
Who
with
else
the
was on the bill?
0936
Oh,
show.
okay, yes, that would be
And,
August. Yep.
just by happenstake, they were in Lakewood, Ohio the night before, which is kind of around the Youngstown, Ohio area, and they were heading to Pittsburgh. At the same time, we were heading our way over to West Side Bowl. And
Gotta stop at Sheets.
Gotta
they
stop at
happened to
Sheets.
just land at the pump directly next to us.
That was
They're starting to get out of the vehicle and walk in. We're all on our way back out after getting our food and everything. And all of a sudden, I'm like, hey, what's going on, man? We shot the crap for a minute and everything and just caught up. Just
congratulated each other on tour and told each other.
Now they were heading to
road.
Blue Ridge, weren't they?
No, they were heading to their show in Pittsburgh. The band that they were doing the run with, though,
Was heading to Blue Ridge.
was heading to Blue Ridge,
Wah,
and they
wah,
were
wah.
on a different date while that band was down at
Right
Blue
on.
Ridge. But
Yeah, so that was a pretty cool coincidence running into them, but like also realizing that we'd literally been in that exact exit
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
that was one of those like quintessential tour moments of the I know this exit.
That was so fun.
So that was on the way to Youngstown. So after we left Youngstown,
After we left Youngstown, we opted that we wanted another, like, give ourselves some rest time. So we were only an hour drive from our stop in Youngstown to Akron, which was going to be our next stop. So we opted, let's just get in the car.
Cuyahoga Falls.
Yeah, we opted to just get in the car, do that extra drive push that night.
That way
didn't
we
have
had
to
our
actually do two different
Second
routes.
hotel for 2 nights
Yep.
in a row.
And man, was
This is
that a good call.
This was the one where you slept for like over 13 hours.
It came up to about 16 total hours he was laying
Was
down.
that was before Buzzbin?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think-
so. That
I
was
think-
that was on the way to Youngstown, West Side Bowl, and then it was Buzzbin. And I don't know if it was exhaustion. I think it was temperature. It might have been the chocolate.
So
It might have been the
Wonka
alcohol.
over
It might have
here
been the
went
food.
A little harder than he
There were
normally
so many.
does.
There were so many things.
And
Hashtag tour life.
yeah, and there was never any like we had brought up our first day off, quote unquote, earlier on the first episode.
Well,
Chris had brought up a good point though. We were moving
we didn't take a day off. We
Yeah.
were always doing something. Even on
Yeah.
our days off, we were sightseeing or doing something. And so we decided that this was going to be our first day off. Like, we did put it out there if there was something to do. Cool,
Yep.
all right, but nothing really materialized. Again, it's like at this point, it's what, Thursday or
It was coming into Friday
morning. It's still technically a weekday.
Yeah, because we had all day until we needed to get to the venue.
Yep.
I remember waking up at like 6, almost 7 a.m. It was still kind of dark out. It's just cold sweats, and I'm like, oh, something's not right. Something's not good. I'm going to keep trying to sleep. I can't regulate my body temperature right now, and I had a massive headache. And I slept, and you guys let me sleep. We went to the pool, and I slept some more.
Yep. And then you apparently hopped in the shower while we were out of the room.
You guys went to the pool, so I'm like, okay, I'm still overheating. I'll go in the shower. I'll take a cool shower. Did not help me at all. I slept some more. I remember waking up at probably 2 or 3 in the afternoon to the conversation of, give it a little bit. We're going to contact Buzzbin and cancel this show. And I'm like, absolutely
you had
not.
barely stirred. While
It
I
was
saying
literally
that.
like,
Oh,
it was
God,
literally
I
like,
remember.
I'm awake. We are going.
I will be so pissed if you cancel. And I was just, okay, you go back to sleep.
So I did get up getting a wash rag and putting it on my forehead to try and bring my temperature down. And
But it was getting to that point, though, for me. Because
Show must go on,
keep
man.
in mind, yes, I am a guitarist for a Contrøller. In certain respects, though, I'm still tour manager
show must go on.
for the band. And
Give me a bucket if I'm puking. I'm sure what's going on.
and where I'm at is,
I was sick all last year's tour, so
yeah. But there's a difference between having the head cold and like losing your throat, and a guy who's literally not getting up off
well,
of the
Bob
floor.
did say at one point I looked like death, and I
Yeah.
did not. I don't know what it was. You think it might have been food poisoning? It really was. Probably just a shitstorm of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll admit the chocolate, but it could have been the alcohol. It could have been the food. It could have been the lack of actual real sleep.
Yep.
It could have been just about, and just the fact that I'm one of those that if I can't regulate my body temperature, I feel miserable.
Right.
And I can get headaches, and I can
That's
just,
your body's like push out way and everything. But
so I do remember just being so hot, and I'm like, if I could just cool off, I will be fine. And I just could not get to that point. I almost came down to the pool just to get in the
dude,
water.
the pool would have been cool enough for you. You
pool
probably
was
would have.
cold.
But I was so tired and weak. I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know what to. But
I will say though, Buzzbin venue wise, it was actually
so the show went on.
The show did
went
end up
on.
going on because we had to load in at 6:00. Luckily, because we didn't have to drive really anywhere. We had like a 15-minute drive
It was about 20
to the venue.
We pushed it all the way up until when I was finally up and ready to go, I was like, all right, let's go. It was like night and day. 5 o'clock
really
rolls
was.
around. I'm like, let's go. I'm good.
It really was, but it's like 4:30's rolling around and the alarm's starting to go off that you had set, and you're kind of just doing the like type roll over. And I'm like,
I don't even know if it's a migraine because and you know this from sitting up front, I've been battling like some sort of neck pain like the whole, and some of that could be just
the tension.
Yeah,
But
and that really could have been what it was. I don't know.
Either way, though, it was 4:30. You're still doing that. I'm like, man, I swear to God, by 5 o'clock, tour manager mode's going to kick in, and if I still hear the like trying to roll off the floor, I'm going to have to make the call because we're only an hour out.
I would have punched you.
And
I would have punched you.
That you can punch me all you want, buddy. But 5 o'clock, all of a sudden, you're like, let me get up and pee real quick, and I'm waiting for you to like open the door and just no arm it down into the floor with the way that you were looking walking into the bathroom. And then all of a sudden you walk out of the bathroom, you're like, ugh. All right, let me get changed. Let's go. And I'm like, what the hell is that? You don't get to walk in the bathroom looking like you just literally got punched with a glue stick.
Iron Man.
And then walk back out and going, all right, it's fine. Let's do this thing. And I'm like, all right.
Let's flex and go.
Yeah,
let's flex and go.
So I'm like, all right, let's roll this. And then I was monitoring you like a freaking helicopter mom when we first got to the venue.
I did fine.
Well, yeah, but when we first got to the venue, I'm like, are you going to end up overheating yourself by manhandling?
I was worried about, again, it was moderately warm. It was still, what was it, the 80s? It wasn't.
No,
it wasn't
cooled off already.
It wasn't the hot.
I think
it did by the evening, but I think
it was like 70s.
Setting up
when
and everything
we
was still kind of sweaty. I had my fan
well,
on
then
me.
the air conditioning wasn't working inside Buzzbin, so they only had fans.
I changed right into my gym shorts right away and a tank top right away because I knew I was going to be working. And then I remember strolling out with my drink, and you're like, "Are you sure about that, bud?
Yep.
Are you sure?" I'm like, "I'm good. I'm good. We're ready to go."
Buzzbin turned out to be a really fun location.
She was awesome.
Yeah,
she took care of us.
The owner, the bartender, she was amazing.
She was really
I'm
sweet.
probably going to
Good
botch the name, but I think it was Julie or Julia, something like that.
I never caught her name.
I believe it was Julie.
But
I might be wrong as well, though.
She was amazing. She had specialty drinks that she
dude,
does. And like one of them caught my interest. It was called a Twinkie Smash. And when I went to ask for it,
the one that
I know that's not the one that I brought out because let me get there. I wanted one of the Twinkie Smash. I was like, I really got to try this because I'm curious. And she reaches for the box of Twinkies, and it was empty. And she's like, "Oh, my bartender ate my last Twinkie."
I was thinking about seeing if they were for sale, but
and then she's like,
so a
"So
while since I had a Twinkie.
I'm going to make you a sour gummy worm instead. Is that okay?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh my gosh! Oh,
That thing was sour.
tart. It was so tart.
Oh my god! I'm looking at each one of the facial expressions.
Puckered my lips so fast.
Every single one of the members. Like, I haven't taken a sip at this point, and Chad's walking around, and he's like, "I got a sour gummy worm." He hadn't taken a sip yet, and I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting." He goes, "Yeah." Takes a swig, and one eye instantly just goes full lock.
This isn't like the sour gummies where it's like first they're sweet and then they're tart. This is all tart. All tart.
All of a sudden, Chad's face
Strong.
goes half stroke.
It was really
the one eye fully closes.
I really liked it.
And then immediately, "Oh, that was good." It's like, that's not what your face just
That's
said.
not what your body said.
And then Bob walks up and he goes, "You want to try this?" And Bob goes, "What is it?" He tells him. Bob goes, and same reaction. And then Bob instantly goes, "That's
I'm
pretty
gonna go
good.
get
I'm
one."
going to go get one." I'm like, that's not what your faces are saying.
Nope.
That's not how this works.
The flavor.
That's not how
the
any
flavor
of this
was fantastic. It was so
Oh
good.
no, it was flavorful.
Yeah.
It was full
It was
flavor.
so good.
acid flavorful.
But I just remember I was like,
I will say though, when I was
I was
discussing the Twinkie Smash recipe, she actually, I was asking her about what was in it, and she brought her
I saw that.
little notebook over.
I saw that.
And by the end of the conversation, I'm like, I know this is probably one of your drinks, but could I get a picture of your recipe? Because I really want to try this, and if I have to make it at home, I'd like to do it right. And she let me grab a picture of her notebook, so I have the recipe for her Twinkie Martini and her Twinkie Smash. So
And then the Jaeger cream bombs.
the Jaeger cream bombs was fun.
So all of a sudden, we're done with our set, and I can't remember if it was you that handed me mine or if it was okay.
I went to buy a round for the
Yep.
band, and
So-
Jaeger bomb was not the first thing I said. Maybe it was, but
I wasn't inside at this point in time. I was outside talking to a couple people that were
Well,
there
you
for
had
the show.
gotten your drink and
that's right.
5
That's right.
Jaeger bombs.
So I ordered my drink, and I was like, "Do you have Jaeger? Can you make Jaeger bombs?" She's like, "Sure." And she comes back. She's like, "I don't have Jaeger, or I don't have Red Bull."
Yep.
Which is weird because it's like one of the specials. So I'm like,
And Chris is like, "Well, what about root beer?"
So I'm staring at the bar, going, "What can we do? What can we do? What can we do?" And I asked for root beer because it's like a root beer keg. I think is what it is. That's a shot.
Mhm.
She's like, "No," and I'm just about ready to suggest ginger because I saw some ginger, and she's like, "Well, I got cream soda." I was like, "Hell yeah!"
He looked at me,
Let's
and I'm
do it.
like, "Yeah,
Let's do it.
Let's do this."
It's not that this tasted bad.
Don't tell the boys.
Yeah, Chris told me,
Not
he's
that
like,
this
"Don't
tasted
tell them."
bad. But all of a sudden, he walks out with the shots, and I'm like, "All right, cool." I'm not thinking anything of it that it's going to be a Jaeger bomb because that's not a far-fetched shot for all of us to take
Right.
on a regular basis. So I get the shot handed to me.
And for all intents and purposes, it looked like a Jaeger bomb.
It did.
It did.
And we're doing our cheers and, about ready to throw back. And I throw back. And it is the most jarring thing when you're expecting some type of a citric acid, fruity flavor to be the predominant flavor in your drink. And then it's creamy. It's
So creamy.
It was actually
so
pretty good.
creamy.
That was good.
It wasn't
That's why
that
I
it
was
was
suggesting root
bad.
beer. I figured it's the same family.
But my God, that is not anywhere close to
I'm
the
gonna have to
expectation.
do. I'm gonna have to do the root beer keg.
So,
thing.
and this is all after I ordered. You had already sent Jeff inside on a mission.
I had
So again,
sent
we
Jeff-
talked about making sure we sold merch at each stop, and there was kind of like a bar set at
Yep.
one point, like 2 stickers or something.
Yeah.
like you
It
just
was
sell
like
something.
some-
Yeah,
thing.
we weren't setting some like high expectation. You need to move 5 shirts.
So here's Jeff with some merch. He's got a bottle of water. I said, here's a shot. We can't carry them all out. Come on out. And I didn't know he was literally on that mission. So we're outside waiting for him. Where's Jeff? Jeff, where's Jeff? And you're like, did you give him a shot? And it's like, yeah. You're like, I don't think he has a shot anymore.
Yeah.
I peer inside. He's like, no, he's still carrying his shot around.
So what mission I had sent him on was, unbeknownst to us, there was some miscommunication between us and venue and promoter and all that type of stuff. Long story short, it is what it is. But we found out after we
played.
Yeah, too late after the fact. We were supposed to be running the door for ourselves in order to actually get a door cut off of this. So obviously we didn't know that, so there was no door cut to split. So the mission I sent Jeff on was, go see if you can move any merch. I don't care if it's a sticker.
Merch.
I don't care if it's a bracelet. I don't care if it's a handshake that they're giving you $1 for. Go see if you can move something. He ended up just kind of walking around. He ended up getting some donations and everything just handed off. We ended up moving a couple other pieces of merch actually that night still on top of that, which was awesome. But the part that Chris had pointed out that he's worried about is, so you mean to tell me I just bought a round of 5 shots and then handed one to the guy who's walking around asking for money from people?
Yeah, I'm walking out with like a equivalent of probably a $50 tab.
Yeah, but I'm like...
But we're begging for people to buy stuff, and I'm like, that's not how this works.
Yeah, I'm like, so, Chris, we're not going to talk about that. Let's just move past that and hope people aren't looking at the shot.
Again, Buzzbin, appreciate you. You did write off some of our tabs. You wrote off, I think, everybody who got like single drinks. Sorry, Stevie, who had to pay cash up front. But like my tab wasn't what it was expected. And I returned it graciously. I gave her a little larger tip than usual.
Yeah, I gave her a tip on a no tab.
And again, that's another place. Speaking of the long weekend, I'd love to do.
I would love to hit Buzzbin.
It's close enough to Youngstown that you could make it part of the weekend, but I think it's far enough away that it's not like
you're not pinching
two
off
sides
people.
of Fort Wayne kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, people can make the extra little drive if they want to come see us, or
it's not like doing a Carl's and a Stan's Room type show where you're pinching off the same group.
Yep.
Yeah, but Buzzbin was a awesome experience and everything. Definitely digging the new venue. I never got to go out to the old one. Chad did.
Yeah, I've scouted the old Canton.
But yeah, it was definitely a cool venue. Hope to go back there. She is in the process of a GoFundMe right now that is helping to keep their doors open. So if you got a couple bucks to throw at it, hop over to their GoFundMe.
Please help. Go look up Buzzbin in Akron, Ohio, and help out.
They got the link all over their Facebook page right now, so easy to find. But then we were wrapping it up in Jackson, Michigan at 308 Brass Rail.
Oh, 308 Brass
Rail. We had a 90-minute setup there.
Well, again, we were staying at a repeat hotel.
Well, yeah,
that was our Akron hotel we stayed in.
So we stayed there, and we had some time to kill. So the one letdown, the huge letdown of the stop was where we, and I won't mention this place, but I'm never taking recommendations.
Dude, I was with you on this though.
I was excited to go to this place that
I'll just say they only do chicken.
They only do chicken fingers.
Only fingers,
and they don't do them well.
And they don't even offer honey mustard.
So it was a big letdown.
Only their signature sauce.
Yeah,
I will say the chicken was tender. And it was juicy.
Tea was good.
And was sweet.
And they use good ice.
They got the good
they
ice.
had the chewy ice.
They got the good ice. Yeah, their sweet tea was real good.
Fries
were good.
The breading had no seasoning to it, but the sauce was over-seasoned.
And even Jeff said the coleslaw was bland. Which is easy to do, but at the same time...
I mean, if you salt it enough...
We tried killing some time here. Oh, and we stopped for gas.
Oh, God. So I don't get aggravated at gas price stuff very often when we're on tour. This one,
so we didn't use Gas Buddy because again we wanted to stop places that were reputable and
where we wanted to go.
And it was this gas place was literally sharing
in the parking lot,
almost sharing a parking lot,
and
they had free air.
Yes,
so it was a cell. So we got our gas. We loop around. We wait for somebody at the air. We pump all of our air up, and as we were leaving, you look up and notice the gas.
No. We had gone and gotten to this
we went.
food.
We went.
coming
Oh,
back.
food.
Yes. You're
So
right.
about 20 minutes had passed between us fueling up and us leaving the parking lot. And in that 20 minutes, the price dropped by 22 cents a gallon. And I'm like, I just paid the most at a single fill up the whole tour
Wah wah.
at that stop 20 minutes ago. And I would have been in our normal price range that we had been paying.
Yeah, that's
Right.
Had they just not changed it 20 minutes later.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't
Yep.
get aggravated very often at the gas price stuff, but
That
man,
was one of
that
those,
one
man.
got me.
I mean, it could have went 20 cents the other way too. So I mean, we're at least
Still.
So 308 Brass Rail.
308
So
brass rail.
we ended up killing some time in Akron, Akron area.
What else do we do besides the
And
food?
We did the
That's
food,
it.
we did the fuel up. That was about all actually. By the time we
Oh,
were done
yeah.
with everything.
Steve and I jumped in the pool in the morning before we left
Yeah,
the
we
hotel.
we did another
Yeah,
pool
we
dip.
waited till
We took about a half
last minute
hour
checkout.
to be in the pool, and about 20 of that was acclimating.
For you, I actually got in quickly on that one.
Well, I mean, still acclimating. It was still, dude, you were shivering. Don't give me that crap. You were all the way in the water, but I still literally watched you go.
Yeah.
So we left Akron, Ohio, heading up to Jackson, Michigan.
Yeah,
Ended
so
up
we headed
308
up to
Brass Rail,
Jackson, Michigan.
which a lot of people got confused right out of the gate when we announced the tour because we have
Yes.
a brass rail here in Fort Wayne.
We have a brass rail in Fort Wayne. This is 308 Brass Rail is the name of the venue up in Jackson, Michigan. Cool, just kind of local bar/restaurant.
Yeah.
They had the big family
good
room off to
food.
the
They
one
had
side.
real good food.
Yep, they had a good sized menu on top of that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Again, part of the pick dump. I don't know if it'll make it to the controller page, but I've seen or I've heard of restaurants who have on their menu the girlfriend special,
Yes.
where it's my girlfriend's not hungry.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I posted that to my page, and it's literally like my girlfriend's not hungry, and it's like another $3, and you get 2 extra wings and
Oh no!
extra side of
It's like
fries.
$1
or something.
add-on for extra fries,
So it was-
or if you wanted the wings, it was $2.
I didn't
extra,
read it.
or $3 extra for the mozzarella sticks.
He's prepared for next time.
Yep. So no, I saw that post and I was like, "Oh, that's a good one." But they had a good sized menu.
They did.
All the food that I got. I got a French dip. It was good.
I had a taco
I
salad.
stayed simple with the mini tacos.
Yep.
Tried
I didn't hear any complaints out of Bob or Jeff from the food they had gotten. Beer selection was good enough. Booze selection was good enough. He got his ocean water.
Yep.
And
My tequila.
yep. And yeah, we did a good show. The band that opened that night up was Bad Liars.
Oh,
They opened
they
the
were-
whole thing up with a.
I don't
acoustic
think
show.
Bob, if you're listening, I don't think he quite caught on that they absolutely had 0 socials.
Yeah.
Because he was trying to push their socials, and I'm like, dude, they don't have socials.
That's why I kept
Which is
joking
cool,
on it
like, we wanna
later.
and we want to network for them, but there's nothing to. They don't.
No, you and I found that. Like I had been hunting weeks prior already. You found that out that night where you're like, I found the one that you're talking about in Pennsylvania.
Wilkes
but-
Barre, Pennsylvania, but these guys are local to Jackson.
Yep.
Yeah, but when they got up on stage to start their stuff, they're like, "We don't have any socials yet."
Yep.
Which is weird
But-
because they're like the generation that should really be. Fully
I think
understanding
they're
and
still trying
capable
to
of
figure out
socials.
what they are as far as a
They don't
band
have a bass
option.
player.
Yep.
Well, I think one of their it's either a girlfriend or wife. She came up, talked to me, and she's like, "They're trying to talk me into playing bass for them." I'm like, "Well, do it." I mean, bass is not a hard instrument.
Careful.
You don't want to ever have that
Business-
reputation,
business.
though.
Business and pleasure. Business and pleasure.
Yep.
Careful.
But
And then I guess the female lead vocalist that they usually have, she wasn't feeling well, so they cut down to just a 2-man
because
act
they'd done
for
a
the night.
long rehearsal the night before to the point where she said she threw her voice, actually, and
That's why they performed the
Lessons
way
from
they
touring.
did.
yep. But yeah, they did a 2-piece acoustic gig. And then while we were in our break between our 2 45-minute sets,
Steve got another compliment on his guitar.
well, it was
Mhm.
actually their guitarist walks up to me and goes, so kind of the kick and rock, like little kid.
Can I play your
He's like,
guitar?
would it be okay while you guys are in your downtime if we get up there and do a song on the electric stuff? Because it's how we were hoping to do tonight, but it didn't work out. It's like, that's fine, man. He's like asking about different tuning stuff, and I'm like, well, it's in drop C, and he goes, well, the song I wanted to do is in standard, and I go, that's not going to happen. My guitar is set up for drop C, and it's not going that high in tuning. He's like, okay, I can make it work. I'm like, all right, cool. If you can make it work, then we can let this all happen. But
he was having fun with it.
He was having fun. The guy that was on drums seemed to be into it, but wasn't overly aggressive on any of your stuff. He was respectful. But they ended up throwing out some original stuff during our break, and to the point where Chris started networking outside of the network.
For those on Patreon, I wore a shirt just for Steve.
Yep, because Chris networked outside of... He crossed the streams.
I don't usually do it, but it made sense. If it didn't make sense, I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, Chris crossed the streams.
So part of the networking, Jackson's not very far, so for one of my other projects, their sound would be absolutely perfect. With this other project I'm in, that if we did show trays, it would be great. So
I agree with that.
But I don't think it would work with Contrøller.
No.
Oh, fair. Yeah, I see.
Yep. They just need to...
And I don't have currently I don't have a stack of current business cards for Contrøller.
We can change that. You had a couple of them.
I would have 4 business cards that I have to carry on. I need to buy
there was so many days on this run I would hand Jeff like a handful of cards and go do your thing.
Yeah. And then he would just scurry off. And then he's like, I did the thing. I met so-and-so, and it's like, cool.
We were leaving. What hotel we were leaving? I think it was the one in Akron. We're walking out the door, and like this whole family is right there at the smoking section, and they're like fist bumping me as I'm walking by, going, "Good luck."
Yeah.
I'm like, what's going on?
I know. My hands were full. I'm like, okay.
Jeff's like, oh, I talked to all of them at breakfast.
As we were walking by, they're like, that's the band that's on tour.
Oh my God!
Yeah, Jeff had informed me that it was I think it was the first morning in Akron. Yeah, I went down there to breakfast, and there's just started handing out business cards and talking to everybody. I'm like, you did what? He's like, yeah. I was like, dude, when you go down? He's like, it just turned 8 a.m. I'm like, who wants to talk business at a hotel breakfast at 8 a.m.? He goes, well, I kind of brought it up to one person, but the other one, he brought up the conversation and just started going, so I just kept rolling
Music
with
is
it.
universal.
And then that turned into...
That's our Jeff.
I was talking to the whole breakfast room about everything. I think I handed out like 7 or 8 business cards. I'm like, dude, I'm so glad you do that, because me at 8 in the morning, I ain't trying to network.
I think some of the business cards were liberally handed out. Like since the QR code's on, it's like, hey, scan this, and then it's my card. But
either way, like I had told you, I'm fine with the business cards going out, because there's more than enough times of people being incapacitated in some respect.
That's true.
Where they're like, cool, and they might scan it, but they don't do anything with it.
But then they don't save the page.
Yep.
The page gets deleted off
at least
of their
the next morning when they're
browser.
coherent and they pull a business card out of their pocket, they're like, what the hell is this?
So 308 Brass Rail.
Yep. We did our 90 on that one.
They had a really good green room, too.
The green room was awesome.
Honestly, in my opinion, that was the best green room. You and I both passed out in that.
I think
room.
I did the dad nap. I was seated upright, and then somebody came in and started talking shrooms.
Yep.
And I was like,
you had thrown me my stage pants, and I'm just looking. I'm like, this will make a good pillow, and I just propped it underneath my head. And
I think I thought about 15
couch.
Now, see, I went and grabbed my phone charger at one point and went into the green room to start charging my phone, and I was going to close my eyes for a few minutes when I get Chris coming in going,
I need you to unlock something.
Hey, I need you to open up the trailer because I need in there. And in my head, I'm like, why aren't you bugging Steve? He was right outside with you. But then I'm like, hold on, I'm getting my drink. I'm getting a drink at the bar. Give me a second. Walk outside. My girlfriend, my daughter, and her boyfriend all surprised me for the show.
Yep,
and
they'd done the drive up.
It was a very nice little reunion there.
Yep.
Not a bad drive, 2 hours. I've done that
drive.
for shows. I've seen bands. Shallowside played at another venue in the area. Found out there's another venue called the Music Box that had hip hop R&B going on that night. So they obviously do live music as well, not just that genre. So definitely a region we could return to.
Yep.
But we decided, since it was such a short drive, that
in the scope of what we had already done,
we're just going to make the trek home. And it was
we got out of there sooner than we thought we were going to get out of there.
We cranked into our second set. I don't think we took. Did we take the full 30?
We took the full 30 on it.
We were able to cut probably 10 minutes from our last set.
Yep. And we got out of there. It really helped because we didn't unpack all of our gear for setup at this show.
Right.
So we were able to kind of get out of there a little bit quicker than expected. And we were home by about 2 a.m. on Hook Trailer. Everybody dispersed. We all went inside and died, except for Chris, because Chris is a rock star and went and closed down a bar after driving 2,200 miles.
I went out for a nightcap.
Yep.
Which is fine. I ran some other friends there.
And then the next morning, we all got up, did our thing, and then 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we did our unpack of the trailer and final breakdown of everything, and I dropped the trailer off at its home. And
I took everything home, put everything away.
Yep, and everything is wrapped up. Now, on a technicality, technically the tour is not done yet because the date we were going to do on the 10th...
Confirmed.
In Detroit, that had to get postponed to the 23rd, officially got confirmed as of today. So
our final tour date.
Well, they won't see this third section of the podcast because I'm sure this is a 3-parter before then.
No, I will make sure this is a 2-parter. So then we will be down until the King 810 show at
October 29th. October 29th in Stan's room. We are opening for King 810. I don't remember the rest of the lineup. I don't even know if I was told who the lineup was going to be. I might have been.
We do have tickets. We are the only local support.
Eyes of Anguish, I think.
On this show. So
hit us up.
If you want to get the discount on the tickets.
And I think they have tour support.
We are your only source. So hit us up. We can save you a few bucks. So
let's go.
Yeah, let's flex and go. So I don't really think I'm sure there's tons of other things that we're going to bring up over the next few episodes that we're like, oh yeah, I forgot about moments from this tour, but this is kind of a good overall arc of some of the highlights from each one of the stops on the tour and everything, and some of the funds that were had, and there's plenty of pictures that have not been released yet from some of the places we went and saw, along with some of the photos of things that happened in the hotel room and stuff like that. So, and a failed pillow flip.
It was a terrible throw.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, you do enough to say you failed at that one.
I don't remember what you're talking about.
Yep. So, yeah, I don't really think we got much else on this one to share at the moment. We got plenty more to share about the tour.
Without going into full detail about a bunch of stuff. Waka, 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 waka.
That will be in another episode, I'm sure. But
all right, everybody.
Let's flex and go.
Flex and go.
September 23rd.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Let's go wrap up the tour properly. All y'all come on up. Hang with us. And kind of show that we got some love that's willing to, travel a little bit for us.
Yeah.
Yep.
We would appreciate it, and I know you'll have a lot of fun there. So,
all right,
thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
So sorry.
Thank you for listening to Actually Controller. If you liked what you heard, please consider following us on all our socials. You can easily find us on all the different platforms by going to linktree/controller33 or scan the QR code if you are watching the video version of this episode. Thank you.